Hello, welcome to the energy update for November. I'm Lee, I'm an intuitive, and every month I take the pulse on a few of the themes that might be showing up for us this month, energetically, emotionally, and psychologically. Couple of the themes for this month are the rising energy is now in full force. Are you going to go with it? Are you going to use it to take yourself up to the next level of life for you? Dropping our baggage and fast healing, you'll notice how quick everything is moving, including changing relationships and a changing you, a changing self. Truths surfacing that will change narratives from the past year or so. And last but not least, your soul is speaking to you at a higher level than before. Are you listening? Stay tuned for the full update. Welcome to the energy update for November. And before we get started, thank you all for your lovely feedback and comments about our Transmissions Volume 2 album. It came out last month, and if you want to check it out, you can find it over at transmissionsalbum.com. And also, if you enjoy my videos, please do subscribe here on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube. We release about 3 or 4 free brand new videos every week, including my weekly Impact the World video podcast. So do subscribe so that you never miss anything that we put out. But for now, let's look at the themes for this month, November. And in some ways, really to look at November in isolation is tricky. We have to think of November, December, and the first half of January as a period that we're now moving into this month, especially from mid-November. The energy is going to shift again and become quite electrical. So more of that in a minute. But the first theme for this month is, will you rise with the rising energy? This was a very clear message from my guides. The energy on the planet is rising, and so too should you be experiencing a rise in your life. Now, how a rise looks for us is different. You know, if I'm having a really rough time, then a rise is me finding my balance again, finding my equilibrium, having people come into my life that can help support me, or my finding those people that can help support me. The chimes agree. But also, if you're already feeling like you're doing pretty well and your energy is good or strong or purposeful, or you're feeling light, you're going to see an extraordinary opportunity in this coming month, 2, 3, to really keep driving forward with everything that you're doing, to innovate, to create new things, not just for you, but also for the people around you. Because anything that we are or that we become gets put out into the world. It ripples out energetically. So will you rise with the rising energy is going to be a major theme this next 2 months. And usually when we resist rising, when we fight it, it tends to make our problems a bit worse. It tends to put more obstacles in our way or present us with more challenges. So if that's what you're going through right now, ask yourself, is there something I need to change here? Is there a message I'm being given by all these roadblocks? But equally, be kind to yourself as you're going through it. It's not that you're doing anything wrong. You know, my guides are always saying we're very judgmental toward ourselves as human beings and towards each other. And they say the soul doesn't see it that way. The soul just sees resistance as a delay to progress, or something in your orbit shows you're not ready for the next step or for progress. But it also tends to be that if we're having lots of roadblocks, lots of problems, there's quite a big shift ready to happen for us, and that can unnerve us as well. So ask yourself, what am I ready for next? What am I looking to create next in my life? And a lot of you will probably be focused on the world at large, because more of us, I think, than ever before, are very aware of some of the more precarious things going on the planet right now, and the challenges that so many are going through. So bear that in mind as you go through the next 2 months. Will you rise with the rising energy? Will you let that rise take you and be willing to let go of some of the stuff that you'll need to in order for that to happen, which is usually what's at the back of our resistance, In the back of our mind, we're scared of what we'll have to lose or let go of in order to become something new. That's the human path. We're constantly changing, we're constantly aging, we're constantly shifting. Relationships in our life are changing because we're all in constant movement. So that rising energy is going to give you an opportunity to consciously reinvent yourself in the next couple of months if you want to work with it, use it, and be in resonance with it, be in relationship with it. This follows on to the next theme, which is allow your power through you. Allow your power through you. This was a very strong message from my guides. They were saying, this is a time where you're all being asked to allow your power through you. And will you let it through you? So for you, your power might be unleashing your talent into the world. For someone else, their power might be allowing themselves to get a relationship that they want. Allowing your power of your truth through you changes the relationship, changes your experience of the relationship. So allowing our power through us is a very strong calling at the moment. So ask yourself, as you're listening to this, what level of power do I want to allow through me next? Perhaps it's the power of improving your health. Perhaps it's the power of speaking your truth. Perhaps it's the power of really focusing in on what you want to create with the work you're doing in the world. It could be so many things. But allowing your power through you is also going to have a knock-on effect of one of the themes that we spoke about last month, which is still ongoing, changing relationships. Our relationships are changing at the moment, not necessarily disappearing or breaking up or leaving us either. But as we change inside, so too do all of our outer dynamics change. And certainly collectively, we're seeing a really big reorganization of things. And that's sometimes conflict-based. You know, there's been a lot of division and conflict going on lately, which those seeds of division have been very cleverly sown into our world in the last year or two. And the question is, how do we respond? Do we respond in a way that's reactive and fear-based, or are we able to stand back and look at what's going on? And equally, will we choose to stay with people who only want to bring conflict to us repeatedly, no matter how many times we ask for the relationship to be different? Or do we say, I can't be in this right now? You may even be having someone say that to you. Don't take it personally. There's just a lot of changing relationship stuff going on. And when we allow our power through us, we find that relationships in our life do shift and change, and often for the better. I know for me, as I witness friends and people I know and love come into a new level of their power, it really inspires or encourages or affects me in a way that allows me to do the same. So I think we often see it as a bad thing, yet truth is, 9 times out of 10, it needn't be. You taking your power can be something that brings others with you, rather than you taking power over others. And God knows we're seeing enough of that in on the planet right now. Dropping old baggage. It's not a word I usually use, but it's a phrase they gave me, dropping old baggage. The healing energy of October, which was given last month in last month's energy update, continues this month, and it happens really fast. So you might be having really speedy memories, past events playing through your mind, or even people from your past, or synchronicities that connect you back to your past, coming into your awareness, coming into your daily life, so that you can drop the old baggage. And I think we often see this as a letting go, but I like to think of it more as composting or composting energy. So if we've got a wound from our past that is something that we are actually able to integrate, it's not something that's going to haunt us forever. It's not something we're going to need deep or sustained trauma therapy work with. It's something that's just kind of there in the background that has always slightly affected the way you see yourself, or slightly affected the way you believe you can move forward. Those kinds of wounds, small fragments, are popping now, and they're beginning to change, because as we move forward into a time of higher consciousness, anything that we played out from a lower consciousness or from an earlier time in our life starts to upgrade and update inside us. And for the very aware among you, it will be a very visceral experience. You know, some people might turn to ayahuasca or some other kind of medicine for that to happen. But for many, none of that is actually required necessarily. You've just got yourself to a point of awareness where you can see the shamanic in everything. You can see everything as it's playing out in a very soul-based way. So dropping old baggage is not just letting go of something that we were stuck in from the past or attached to from the past. It's freeing up that energy so that it can become something new in the future. So we're composting old baggage, you could say. Composting. If you're, I'm living in America now, so you can't help it because it's how everyone says it here. Okay, really good month for body healing in October. Very, very good month, especially if you think of all the fear, some real and some manufactured, that has been flying around about our bodies and our health the last couple of years. So this is going to be a very good time for healing your body, a very supported time for really figuring out, what does your body need? What do you need? And I literally mean the body. I don't mean the mind. I don't mean the spirit. I mean literally the body. So this might manifest for you in that something that's been niggling at you physically or bugging you for a while rises to the surface so that you can get it taken care of, get the right kind of healing for it. But equally, it might just be that you start to be a bit more mindful about your body, that this month ahead is going to be a month where you will start to look at, okay, how am I fueling my body? How does my body seem? Does my body seem lethargic? Does it seem alive? What kind of energy do I want to have? Interesting that November, there is a very strong arc around body healing. And so if that resonates with you, it will be a very supportive month for you to take a look at that and perhaps put a few new things into place. Confusing narratives lead to inner confusion until sovereignty. Confusing narratives lead to inner confusion until sovereignty. Sovereignty is a word that I didn't really hear before about the last decade, but it tends to relate to us being in our power, us feeling sovereign, knowing what our truth is, feeling comfortable in our truth and recognizing other people's truth will be different, but feeling sovereign in it, not feeling manipulated or pushed around or like we're compromising or not saying what we need to. So there have been a lot of confusing narratives on the planet. You know, you can speak to 10 different people and get told 10 different stories about what's actually going on. Nothing wrong with 10 different stories. There's going to be so many stories on Earth because we're all seeing things through different perspectives. The problem comes when an individual or a group want you to believe there is only one version of the story, despite other people asking questions or saying, oh, this is a bit different to me. So confusing narratives will lead to inner confusion until we know our truth and we can hold our truth. And I think the truth is a very relative term these days, especially with everything we've been through. But the reason this sentence was given to me is for you to try and understand that your inner confusion is quite logical right now. It is a confusing time, and it's important to remember that the confusion is very much a part of what's going on the planet. So if you do find yourself spinning out with confusion, come back to ask yourself, what's true for me in this moment? What's true for me right now? What do I need right now? What can I do right now? Just come back to the now, because the next theme that I was given is truths surfacing that will change past narratives. This is in the same vein as confusing narratives that make us feel confused inside, because you're like, well, what should I believe? What's going on out here? This person says this and this person says this, and they're all very emotionally weighted about it. You know, I'm loving all the people that I'm seeing right now who can hold room and space for all of it. You know, the people who are going, well, yeah, there's some people over here who are doing this, and there's some people over here doing this, and we're all here together, and I can still hold love for everyone, even if I know what I feel. the people who are wanting to fight, wanting to accuse, wanting to punish, judge, it's all fear-based. There's no question about that. It's all fear-based. And the problem with fear is fear can lead us to all kinds of actions that are not going to help us in the end. If anything, they're going to compact us, they're going to potentially trap us in a way that our soul and our spirit can't be free anymore. So truths will be surfacing, and this is already happening. I mean, if you're paying attention to lots of different pieces of information out there, you'll already be seeing this. But certainly as we go through the next few months and leading to February of 2022, where there is a bit of a culmination around this apparently, more truths will be surfacing that will change what we thought was true 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 9 months ago, or certainly what the common story was. Yeah. So just be mindful that it's quite normal to feel not very normal right now. And I say that to you because it was something I went through a week or so ago. I was just feeling all the speed of everything, and there was a lot going on. And I did some personal channeling, and they were like, yeah, there's a lot going on. You're doing really well. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, it's all okay, you know, because my human self was feeling rattled by things that for me were definitely a little more local, but they were also saying these are very, very challenging times. And so just to kind of recap on those two themes, so that just to be sure there's no confusion. Confusing narratives in the outer world will confuse our inner world until we decide what we need to believe is true, what we know is true, and our truth is allowed to change tomorrow or the day after. So be mindful of people who are fighting over the truth, because there's no such thing actually. Truths surfacing that change past narratives, shifts around certainties that we have seen in the world in the last year or two are going to come forward, and they are going to keep coming forward, and that's going to create a certain level of confusion too. So just be very gentle with yourself and others around how off our axis we all are. So bear that in mind. Starting mid-November, they've mentioned an electrical storm that will begin mid-month, mid-November, through to about mid-December. They said it will last around 4 or 5 weeks, and it will amplify everything. Now, I don't know about you, I was like, I don't know how much more amplified we need things to be, but what they explained is it will have a purge effect. And it will rise to the surface certain things that have been suppressed, held down, but it can also be shocking and it can be challenging. So whenever they speak to me of electrical storms, it can include surprises, shocks, delights, real shifts for individuals and large numbers of people. So the ultimate, if you like, result of this electrical storm is going to be shifting us into a new place. So just be mindful that mid-November through mid-December, highly charged times. So if you are deeply sensitive in that period, you might want to choose what you do very carefully. And if you're loving riding that electricity, for you, it could really amplify everything you're doing. But as ever, just be mindful. Electrical energy is strong for us. It can be very intoxicating. It can feel incredibly spiritually alive, but it can also wear our human bodies out too. So you have to be mindful of balance and grounding whenever you're in a very electrical period of your life, or when we're in a very electrical period as a world. So especially mid-November through mid-December, just really make sure nature, grounding, and being in and with your body is something that you give energy and time to. And last but not least for this month, soul speak. This will be a time of higher consciousness messages becoming more normal. I know many of you who tune into me, higher consciousness messages from your guides, messages from spirit. It's probably not going to be too foreign to you, otherwise you wouldn't be watching me probably. But there is certainly a huge rise in this that I've heard and seen going on in the last few years, but my guides were saying, here it comes, a whole new level of soul speak. So your soul, your guides, spirit are all going to be wanting to connect and talk to you a little more right now. So some of you will probably already be experiencing that when by the time this video comes out. But bear in mind that when your soul is speaking to you, it doesn't mean you have to jump and take action the first time you get a vision or an idea. We often have to take time and calibrate to these things. And equally, sometimes your soul may say a very grand thing to you, like, I just need 3 weeks off. I just need 3 weeks to rest. And you might go, I don't know if I can quite do 3 weeks, but I hear the call. I'll see what I can rearrange. I'll see if I can take an afternoon off, or I'll see if I can make sure I'm really looking after myself. Because if my soul is saying I need 3 weeks of rest, but I can't easily do that right now, how can I co-create with my soul? I think it's one of the things that I learned through doing this work, that we as a people are so willing to give our power away sometimes to spirit, in much the same way that we've been encouraged to give our power away in so many other ways. So I think when we first contact spirit, or we first hear spirit, there can be a very seductive period of time where you want to just surrender to it and let go of your human body. And actually the real gold starts to happen when the two start to fuse again. And when you come back to your body after that level of awakening, and you start to make adjustments that are very grounded and can be very real and manifest in your world. So Soul Speak is going to be on the rise in this next month or two. So if in doubt, just listen, make some notes, sit back, check them again a week later. Some of you will notice your nervous systems get very activated if you get those messages and you want to immediately act or immediately jump. And it would be really good for you to practice patience and work with your nervous system at that point. Sit and breathe, meditate, do whatever it is that you have learned soothes and calms your body. Because these high doses of soul energy and visionary and intuitive messages can really shift you. So bear that in mind as this period of higher consciousness messages starts to increase and become a little normal. And by the way, you may not hear your guides, but if you really pay attention, you may start to notice synchronicity showing up in your life in a whole new way. Or on a Tuesday, you're thinking, God, I really could do with some help with some of that technical stuff. That's a real block to my work right now. And then, oh, lo and behold, on Thursday, your friend introduces you to their friend who happens to be a technical whiz, and they're willing to collaborate with you on this project because they're also passionate about it. Pay attention to that, because our soul does not only speak to us with words, it speaks to us with actions and with people and with putting things in our path at the right time. The question is, are we seeing? Are we hearing? Are we noticing? So that's everything for the month of November. As ever, I hope you look after yourself really well. If we look after ourselves, then we bring a stronger light, power, and energy to others in our world. And as I always say, if you're having a rough month, then do everything you can to support yourself this month. But if your cup is overflowing, there's nothing better than sharing that energy with others. Connection is why we're here. This month, I'm delighted to say that we are running a whole new online experience called Initiation. It began on October 27th, but don't worry if you've missed the first one or two. Even though we deliver the broadcasts live, we archive everything. So you can join at any time this month. I'll play you a trailer for it in just a moment, but it's called Initiation. It's very high frequency channeled events every single week with calibration videos in between. So I'll play you the video in a moment so if you can see if it's for you. And to those of you who are already with us from all over the world, it's fantastic to be doing that with you. The new recording from me and my guides, the Z's, this month is called Soul Imprints, The Art of Transformation. It's a really beautiful one, and you can read more about it on the link to the page, which we'll put underneath this video. Or if you're a member of my portal community, you will already have it because it will have been dropped into your membership on November the 1st. You can also get it in my store, but if you are a portal member, you get so many different materials, support tools, a live broadcast with me and my guides every month, so many things. So do go and check out theportal.world. And if you want to try it for a month and see if it's for you, we'd love to welcome you and invite you into the portal. And last but not least, I mentioned at the very beginning of this video, Transmissions Volume 2. It's a channeled spoken word album with music and with songs. It's the sequel to Transmissions, which came out in June. We had some beautiful videos created for it, so you can find those on my YouTube channel. But if you want to check out the album, the videos, stream it, download it, get a CD, you can find all of that at transmissionsalbum.com. But for now, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Here is the short video for initiation. Big love. Hello, I'm Lee. I'm an intuitive and a channeler, and I've been channeling now for 23 years. And the information and the energy that my guides have underscored my life with throughout those years has been very transformative for me. And for those of you who've followed my work over the past 17 years or so, I know for many of you too. As I was visioning and doing a lot of deep diving this summer, really talking to my guides a lot through the month of August, they gave me the name Initiation as the name for a series of messages that they want to bring. Initiation will begin on October the 27th, and every Wednesday, live from this studio, I'll be channeling for approximately an hour to 75 minutes. I have asked my dear friend and sound healing collaborator, Devor Bozique, to create some original music encoded with planetary frequencies, but also frequencies that relate to our body that can run underneath each of the channels. And my guides, the Z's, have given us a written message about what initiation will be and what will take place during it. You can find that and all information about this experience on the course page. In between each of the live broadcasts, I will do a special calibration video that helps us at a human level calibrate to and integrate and absorb what each channeled message will be. This is different to anything I've ever done before. I can't wait to bring it to you, and neither can my team. If you feel to be with us for initiation, or you want to just get a sense of it, please visit the link below this video to learn more and to feel more and to see if it resonates with you. If so, we'd love to have you with us.